It's now time for Global Insight, where we speak to experts from around the world on issues making headlines. The Yoon Suk-yeol government last month unveiled a total of 51 regulatory reform projects across various industries with the aim of spurring innovation and investment in the country. And this involves cutting red tape across 6 areas, including new industries, environment, bio and healthcare. And such efforts are expected to generate new investments worth 1.6 trillion won or $1.23 billion. Amid the rapid digital transformation, the financial sector is one area that's crucially in need of innovation and change. But of course, this requires legal changes in the financial and industrial sectors, such as tax laws and data protection. With authorities pledging to create the so-called BTS of financial products and services, we try to envision such innovations and what kind of measures are needed. And for this, I'm joined by Professor Kim Yong-jin of Seogang Business School, who has held various leadership positions as President of Korean Academy for SME and Startup Policy Initiative, the Asia Council for Small Business, as well as being a non-standing commissioner of the Financial Services Commission. And he's received the Order of Service Merit by the Korean government for his contributions, and we're very happy to have him join us in studio today. Welcome, Professor Kim. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me.
Lovely to see you, and very timely as well, because you are actually a member of the Committee on Industry and Innovation, to be specific, the Industry and Innovation in Finance Industry Development Committee. And a new batch of members were appointed, of course, and the chair, I believe, said that he intends to create a BTS of financial services. So what kinds of innovative services or tools are you hoping to see emerge?
Well, I love the idea of BTS in finance. So the key for the success of BTS is to directly communicate with its members or its fans and care about what the fans care. So if the new committee act like BTS, they will make a big success. But as you mentioned, the Financial Services Commission has appointed 21 new members out of 49 members for the Finance Industry Development Committee. I believe, this new stream of blood will bring more innovation to Korean financial market. I hope, they are able to come up with, more ideas about embedded finance, easy and simple payment, and crowdfunding, and asset management backed by AI, and also crypto asset management. Do I ask too much for them to do? Well, but actually, if they really understand how BTS make big success globally, I strongly believe they will make the best out of it.
Right, exactly. Really giving into demands and giving people what they want through these rather instinctive and innovative services. And well, right now, South Korea's financial regulators, they have a system of separating industrial and financial capital, so that effectively bars industrial capital from being invested or buying stocks of financial institutions and banks. And what limitations has this really put on the diversity of financial services that we can access, and what kind of services could actually be materializing once these regulations are lifted?
Right. But basically we have to understand that separating financial and industrial capital is kind of long tradition throughout the world. Because in the old days, the industrial capital often abused financial capital in terms of the capital usage by giving their own subsidiaries, more lending, more investment, and lower interest rate than it did for unrelated companies. But now we have like a bunch of different type of tools to control the abusing behavior of this top management. So I think it is time to ease the separation regulations. And if the regulation is weakened, we'll see a whole bunch of different types of financial services because the companies will integrate financial activities and industrial activities. For example, department stores may provide financial services to its customers, and financial institutions may provide IT services to industrial companies. And also, the banks may, provide delivery platform service to its customers if we ease that regulations. And in terms of cryptocurrency, crypto assets, no, there is no differentiation from finance to the industry because they are one from its birth. So we'll see a whole bunch of different types of services if the regulation would be eased.
Right, and with its overall regulatory reform drive, the government's hoping to improve the livelihoods of South Korean people, of course. And with these financial regulatory changes, though, how do you expect people not formally or, well, employed in very regular sectors, such as artists or entrepreneurs, and also, platform economy workers, how do you think this could possibly benefit them?
Well, as you see, the most financial activities move from physical to offline to online or mobile, right? And then we are witnessing totally different types of ecosystem emerging. What I mean is that we see IT services provide financial services, and we see totally different types of alternative trading system. Means basically, we have only like a formal credit rating systems, but now we have a whole bunch of different types of alternative, credit rating systems. And also we see, data scientists emerging, for deep analysis of capital market and banking activities and customer, behaviors. And we see new types of bank, payment services, and investment. You name it. So we see a whole bunch of different types of jobs and opportunities. On the other hand, the invention of crypto assets such as coins, tokens, and NFT is providing a totally new source of income for artists and entrepreneurs. Some artists, work only online, and some entrepreneurs exist only online where they make huge revenue.
Well, I actually found your book, I think it was published at the end of 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. It was fascinating because it really drew from all these different phenomena that we've been seeing throughout the pandemic. And one point you mentioned was things transitioning to an on-demand economy. Right. And I thought that was very pertinent and relevant to what we are also talking about today with regulatory reform. And how do you think regulations here in South Korea should really adapt to this new reality where services are becoming more digital and on demand, as you put it?
Right. You've written my book, huh?
I definitely did.
Awesome.
So you can test me now.
Okay, to provide the on-demand service, what I mean by that is for a companies to provide or solve a problems a customer has at the time she wants, at the place she wants, in the form she wants. It has to maximize the efficiency of asset utilization. And it has to consolidate various processes provided by other companies. And it also it has to mix financial and industrial activities together. It has to provide service seamless manner. For that, we have to change the regulatory system dramatically. What I mean, we may have to ease the regulation for separating financial and industrial capital. And also we have the authority need to set up different types of monitoring system because there's totally different activities and services from the business. So if we set up like a negative system, negative regulatory system, which is different from the positive regulatory system, which says, hey, you can do this, you can do this. No, we don't use those kind of systems anymore. We cannot use those kind of systems anymore if we introduce on-demand service.
Exactly. So once you have a negative regulatory system, it means everything is allowed unless it's outrightly banned, right?
Yeah.
And we currently don't have that at the moment in Korea. So, you need permission to do something to be innovative, but that itself is banned because it's not been enabled by law. So funny system we have here, and definitely needs changing. And well, actually, many of these digital, financial, and even medical services, though, they rely on a wealth of data, and that's becoming more and more of a concern due to privacy issues. But also, you need to be able to be a little flexible with data. But the thing is, Korea has one of the most stringent privacy laws in the world, PIPA. And well, can innovation and data protection be balanced in a way? Can we go for both?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very key point, when it comes to data use and innovations, the conflict between privacy and open data use. For that, fortunately, Financial Services Commission introduced, excellent system which is called My Data Service. In the past, a company got the agreement from a customer to use her data. They have to use that data only on the agreed upon way. And if they want to use the data for different purpose, they have to get another agreement from the customers. But with the My Data Service, if the company get the license for My Data Service, they can use that data freely, and also they can get consolidated data or aggregate data from licensed data consolidation companies. So this will give a lot of freedom for them to use the data as long as anonymity is kept. That's the key part. Anonymity need to be kept. But one problem with the system is that customers who provide the data would not get explicit or direct benefit from their agreement of the use of data. So the best way of solving this problem or this conflict is giving sole control of the data to the owner of the data, and provide benefit or pay some money whenever they use their customers' data.
Oh, I see. Well, along with these efforts, you've also been involved with working with regulatory sandboxes, seeing how companies can really how we can ease regulations by working through very practical issues with companies. And well, you've been focusing on how smaller businesses can also compete with larger businesses as well, because they don't have as much data as perhaps large tech companies do. And they do need that data, and they do need that digital infrastructure to be able to innovate. So how have you been really thinking about this, Professor?
Right. So compared to big tech companies, SMEs do not have resources and people, and they don't have much data. And even though they want to get the data from other companies, they don't have enough resource to get those data directly from that other companies. I mean, even though they have agreement from customers, okay, we can use my data, but there is no way for them to get those data from directly. So Financial Services Commission introduced a new system. Okay, you SMEs, you can get data from public licensed consolidation, data consolidation company. Okay, then we can solve one problem. And another part is usually in Korea, customers may have one account from a bank, and they go to the bank for using the service. But small companies, they don't have a lot of branches and networks, so their service will be very confined to a specific areas. And now customers can use any kind of services from that bank throughout any other banks. This is what is called open banking. So this system will, give a lot of edge to small and medium enterprises to serve their customers.
Right, so really helping them leverage the amount of data they have and really connecting those dots. And well, my next question is, well, we do see some really large IT companies, tech firms in South Korea doing really well in the market, of course, like Naver, Kakao, but they don't seem to be really going global though. So in terms of large tech companies that we have, as well as smaller ones and startups, what can we do to make them more global?
Well, that's kind of sensitive question.
It is indeed.
But, okay, we'll see. Yeah, it's really unfortunate for big tech companies. not to mention the small startups, in Korea, just dominate domestic market, not to go abroad. I think that's, part of cultural issues or part of belief systems in Korean mind. And then when people start a business in Korea, they automatically look at the domestic market. Right? And we did not learn how to compete globally. We do not think, how to go abroad. We just confine ourselves to Korean Peninsula. And we believe we are one blood. Actually, we have to know a lot. There are out there a lot of people who may buy our, services. I always emphasize to my students that there are 8 billion people out of this country, and these people might, buy what you think if they like. So we have to look at, outside, and if we have only 50 million people in our country, so if you have better ideas, you go abroad and you will make, big success.
Right. And well, that's something for companies to think about as they move forward. And in terms of South Korea, though, this government is also trying to bring in more businesses and investment. And do you think Seoul could become the next Hong Kong or Singapore? I mean, we have very highly trained professionals and we have a wealth of human capital. So do you think it does have that potential?
Well, that's another sensitive question.
Oh, no.
Well, in OFRA, in financial services, to my opinion, Seoul cannot be the next Hong Kong or next Singapore, due to the existence of China. And China is actually backing the Hong Kong and Singapore. And China does not want Seoul to be the financial services center. But when it comes to digital finance, I think Seoul has a lot of potential to be the next New York and next London.
Wow!
Because we have excellent digital infrastructure, we have excellent people who have very excellent ideas, creative ideas, to come up with better innovations to financial services. Yeah, but the regulatory regime need to be changed, though.
Right, looks like we have a great mix of ingredients here, but we just need to be able to enable these to come together.
Right.
And finally, before we let you go, Professor, what kind of regulatory changes do you hope to see from this government as we move forward in order to increase this appeal of doing business in South Korea?
Right. The most prominent concern or fear of foreign investors is that Korean government changes the rules too frequently. and too intrusive to shackle the financial market with law enforcement. And foreign investors, look to believe that the Korean financial market is not that much transparent and governance is not that much clear. So, to attract foreign investors and skilled people, Korea as a whole need to make the rules very clear and build a transparent governance system. Most importantly, the regulatory regime need to be changed to a negative system so that investors understand what not to do.
Right.
We don't say, you can do what, but we can say what you cannot do, then they will abide by the rules.
Right. Well, again, it looks like we have the businesses, the business environment, but it's just the regulations that need fixing. And well, we count on your efforts to drive that forward, Professor. Thank you so much, Professor Kim Yong-jin of Seogang Business School.
Thanks for having me.